Hey everyone, how's it going? Forrest here, again with another installment of my complete analysis of all 389 Bach chorale harmonizations. Before I get started, I'd like to thank my first 10 subscribers. I just found out about the YouTube Studio feature, and it's been really interesting to see how all of my videos have been doing and the fact that people are actually watching them. You know, I started this YouTube channel for myself so that I could have a place where I can go back and refer back to my analysis and my line of thinking, and just an online footprint for me to store my analyses. But the fact that some of you are enjoying the videos and actually actively watching them is really awesome, and I hope that I can continue to provide content for you in the future. I mean, the videos are going to be there. I hope you continue to enjoy them. But I have 10 subscribers, which is really awesome. Thank you, everyone. So today we're going to be looking at O Traurigkeit, which translates to O Darkest Woe. This is a pretty easy chorale to analyze, maybe one of the easiest chorales that we've analyzed actually. Very functionally harmonic, no real difficulties with the harmonic analysis. There is one chord where there was some ambiguity, but the modulations were very clear, the phrases were very clear. Let's hop right into the analysis. So first things first, no key signature. We start on E major and we cadence on A minor at the end. So I reckon we're in the key of A minor and we're starting on a 5 chord. E major is the dominant of A minor, so that'll be our 5. And we would expect 5 to go to 1, especially at the beginning of a chorale if it were to have started on 5. A, E, and C. That is our tonic triad. Neighboring tone in the soprano, passing tone in the tenor, and then we have A, F sharp, E, and C. I reckon this E is an accented non-chord tone, and this is actually a D sharp diminished 7th chord over A, which would be a 7-4-3. That would be second inversion, and that's not our diatonic 7 chord rather, but it is the 7-4-3 of 5, because D sharp is the leading tone to E. E, G sharp, E, and B. There's our 5 chord as we would expect. And then we cadence again on 5. The voices rotate, or rather, the soprano and the alto rotate, or goodness, what am I saying? The soprano and the tenor rotate. And then we get ready for another half cadence on the next at the next cadence after the short phrase. So 5 goes to C, C, E, and A. That is an A minor triad over C, or a 1 chord in first inversion. F, B, D, and A. I think that is a B minor 7 flat 5 over F, or sorry, that's an F. F, B, D, and A. So that would be a 2 chord. Bach loves his 2 chords, but this time it's actually not in first inversion, it's in second inversion, just like this diminished chord. So I think that there's some parallelism going on here. He cadences on 5, and then goes to 1 to another diminished chord, and then cadences on 5 again, E, B, E, and G sharp. So there's some really cool symmetry going on between these 2 short phrases. Okay, we have another 5 chord on beat 4. A, C, A, and E. That's a tonic triad. A minor, root position. G sharp, B, B, and E. That is a first inversion E major triad. That would be 5-6. And then we have A, C, A, and F. We actually have a deceptive progression. That would be 6, 6. As this is an F major triad in first inversion. Some passing tones in the lower voices. And actually, because the next cadence is it's a perfect authentic cadence in the key of C major, I reckon we modulate on this F chord. It sounds like we've modulated here. So we'll go ahead and recontextualize this 6-6 chord as a 4-6 chord. And then this C major, instead of being 3, will be considered as 1. We have an anticipation in the soprano, and this C is a chord tone, so we don't need to worry about it. We then have F sharp, A, and D, F sharp, C, A, and D, that would be D7 over F sharp, so that would be 5, 6, 5 of 5, as D is the dominant of G, and G is our 5 chord in the key of C. And then we have G, B, G, and D. There's our 5 chord in root position, with a passing 7th in the alto, and then we cadence on 1. Okay, looking ahead, we have a half cadence again in the key of A minor here, but it doesn't sound like we modulate until we get around right here. Everything stays pretty C major centric in this measure right here, and when this G sharp gets introduced, we start to hear the idea of A minor again, so we're going to be analyzing in C for a while. G, D, G, and B. Root position G major triad, that's just a 5 chord. A, C, F, and C. That is another sort of deceptive progression, but instead of going to 6, we're going to 4, 6, like so. And then we have B, G, D, and D. That is our 5 chord again. It's G major, but it's over B this time, so that would be a 5, 6 chord. C, G, C, and E, with a passing tone in the tenor. That is a 1 chord, C major in root position. And then we have on our next beat, G sharp, B, B, and D, with this E that we hop down to here. I guess it really depends on how you want to look at this chord. We're going to go ahead and say that this is 7 in root position of 6. Even though we hop down to E here, I reckon this E is just an anticipation that's an octave below the next note. But it's still anticipating it because they're the same pitch class. Or the same pitch, rather. Yes, but this is where we modulate to A minor. Most definitely, it's what it sounds like when you listen to the chorale. So this is a 7 chord, diminished root position in the key of A minor. That goes to A, E, A, and C. 7 usually goes to 1, especially when it's in root position. And then we cadence on E major, which, as we've learned from our previous analyses, is a 5 chord. It's our dominant. Okay, our last cadence is a perfect, authentic cadence in the key of A minor. Notice no Picardy third here. We usually have a Picardy third in minor keys, but I don't know, the title of the piece is O Darkest Woe. Maybe there is no light at the end of the tunnel in this text. Alright, so the next beat we have an interesting chord. We have F sharp, D, E, and A, or F sharp, E, E, and A. I know that it's really just a bass line that's being implied here, right? E, F sharp, G, A, just textbook melodic minor, even with the descending naturalized notes on the way down. But really we don't get a full chord here. If we were spelling this as a root position chord, this would be some type of 6-7 chord in root position, so it would be 6-7. But what is missing here is the fact that it doesn't have a C in it. There's no C anywhere to be seen, so we can't really call this diminished, even though it's implied by the F sharp and the bass. So what we could do is we could also analyze this D right here as D, F sharp, E, and A, but then again the E sort of throws us for a loop. We have this pedal tone in the alto, bass line that's outlining A minor. This chord really is a mystery. It's definitely the crux of this analysis, and I don't think there's a right way to analyze it. I hear it more as F sharp as the bass, but I'll go ahead and say that this, I guess, could also be kind of like a D chord, because we know Bach uses 4-6-5 from time to time, so that's me using my previous knowledge. But the next beat is much clearer. G sharp, D, E, and B. That is a 5-6-5 chord for sure. That is E7 over G sharp. And then the C is sort of like a suspension. We then have A, C, E, and C. That is a tonic triad in root position, A minor, with some passing tones in the lower voices before we get F, A, and D. That is a D major triad, D minor triad in first inversion. That's 4-6. Then we have some passing tones in 3 of the voices, soprano, alto, and bass. And let's see if that's analyzable. E, A, G, and C. I don't think that really is analyzable. I think that these are all just passing tones trying to get Bach from 4/6 to D, A, F, and B. There's our 2/6/5 chord. That's B minor 7 flat 5 over D. B half diminished in first inversion. And then we have a 5 chord. This is a pretty staple fundamental cadential formula. 2/6/5 to 5, especially with the passing 7th and the alto. And then we cadence on 1 minor as opposed to 1 major, which Bach does in a lot of his chorales. So we had a short chorale today. This was fairly easy to analyze. This chord right here with the F sharp in the bass and the disagreement with the inner voices is really fascinating. I had to double check the chorale to see if I had any typos or anything like that. The only typo I had that made it into the edition was this right here. I accidentally plugged a D into into my MIDI as opposed to an E, which this was supposed to be, and it would have been very fascinating if we had cadenced on a 5/4/2 chord, but we didn't. We cadenced on E, which was more expected. But all in all, I'd be interested to hear what you think is going on here on beat 1 here in the penultimate measure. I don't know what's going on. Feels like some sort of deceptive progression with the F sharp in there regardless, but yeah, I'm kind of just using the bass as the outer voices as my guide here, but really Bach is just sort of working his way up the scale. There's some parallelism between the outer voices. Otherwise I really don't know what's going on harmonically, whether it's an analyzable chord or not, but you know, as Bach gets closer to the cadence, it starts to get more contrapuntal. Tonality sort of it doesn't go completely away, but like I've said in my previous videos, it's harder to fully pick out chords like in the middle of phrases where there is a very deliberate harmonic rhythm. But here with this tenor line that's also syncopated is kind of difficult to pick out. But regardless, it was a fun chorale to analyze. It was like a quaint little chorale. It was a short one. After the long one yesterday, it was really nice to have a short chorale. And I'm looking forward to tomorrow's analysis as well. So that being said, thanks for watching the video. Thank you for continuing to support the channel, and I hope you take care.